Welcome to Conversations with Chike Evans. I am Chike Evans. How you doing? I hope everybody's good. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's prayed up. Everybody's trying to be at least in good spirits. I know it's hard these days, but gotta stay encouraged. Yeah. So, today, my special guest is Kyra Knox, who is an award-winning director, producer. She's a trained actress, and she is a documentarian, and she makes wonderful documentarian films. And her work is just stellar. And there's a reason why she won an Emmy. And she makes projects that grabs and tugs at your heart and makes you think, makes you want to get out in the community and get active. Art is powerful, and she uses it to the fullest. And met her some years ago, but I've never had a conversation with her. And we've been trying to do this for quite some time, so I'm glad to be able to have her on this show. What's going on with people? Where's everybody from? And thank you for watching, because you don't have to be here, and I'm glad that you are. Please visit the official YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, and comment. I do love the comments. What's going on? I love the love, by the way. I love the love. Just waiting for Ms. Knox to come into the room. Conversations with Chike Evans on YouTube. Yep. Please, by all means. I love it. I love it. How about the weather breaking, y'all? It's beautiful outside. Been waiting and waiting for spring, and it's here. And here is Ms. Knox.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm blessed. Cannot complain.
I know that's
So
right.
I was just saying before you came on that we've met some years ago, and it was at the Five Shorts project. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I showed the short film "I Am My Ancestors' Wildest Dreams."
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I
So it's good
remember.
to actually communicate with you this way, because we've been trying to do this for a long time. You were busy, I was busy, so I'm glad that we can finally do this. But I also looked at it as perfect timing, because since the time that I first met you, you've done so much.
I
You've done
know.
so much. And even though I'm new to knowing you, I'm so proud of everything that you've done and the things that you do for the city of Philadelphia. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, technically, you're not new to knowing me because you brought it all the way back to that project. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. So how are you? How you doing?
I'm good. I literally am taking a break right now to do this
Mm-hmm.
interview. I'm in the middle of some pre-production. I can't say what the project is, NDA life. Um, but I definitely want to make sure I took time out to chat with you today.
Well, I thank you for it, because time is precious. It's
Oh,
our most
yes.
precious resource.
Yep. Give myself a little light. There we go. There we go.
All right. So I like to start at the beginning, and I like to talk about early inspirations, and um, try to show like what your path is or was leading to where you are now, so other people will be inspired. So your earliest memory of being inspired for film, tell me what
Oh
that is.
man. So actually it wasn't even film. I started out as a theater kid. Um
Yeah.
Freedom Theater, 6 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yes.
that's really when I found my love for the arts. Um and my first memory of film would actually be at my high school. I went to Kappa. I went to Performing Arts High School.
Okay.
I was a drama major, and now at Kappa, you can have two, like they have it now where it's split between theater and film, and you can choose either or. But back when I was there, um, they had film and theater all together. And
Okay.
that's when like cameras was with the VHS. Okay, like I'm aging myself now. The editing was like the knobs, and you had three
Oh
VHS.
wow.
Yeah. That's where I got my start from.
How was it in Freedom Theater back then? In case people don't know, Freedom Theater is a theater house. It's community based, and it has kicked out some of your favorite artists out of Philadelphia into the world.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your time at Freedom Theater and how that nurtured you and gave you some of the Philliness.
Oh man, Freedom Theater. I will tell you that Freedom Theater taught me how to be punctual. Um, and when I say punctual, I mean that if I'm on time, I'm late. Because at Freedom Theater, it didn't matter that I was only 6 years old. I mean, if anyone was on time, we were considered late, and we had to do 250 jumping jacks on stage in front of everybody. Uh, um, Freedom Theater also taught me about my history, Black history. They had us in groups, and my group was the Sammy Davis Jr. group. Um, and Freedom Theater also taught me confidence, how to be confident in my own skin as a Black woman,
Hmm.
and those are things that I still take away to this day. I love Freedom Theater, and they really, really, gave me my start in the art community.
Yeah. And so when did you get to producing? I mean, I kind of know the story a little bit, but talk a little bit about that because I think that you have a really unique path, and it speaks to your drive and your determination, what you wanted to do, and how you got to where you are.
So, how I got to producing. So, I'll go back a little bit. Right out of Kappa, I had the opportunity to do an off Broadway play called Corner Wars in New York. And so I didn't go right to college. I went right to New York. Someone's giving me that opportunity. Like, what? Um, and so I was out there. I was working at Starbucks during the day, going to theater at night for my rehearsals. The night before, 2 nights, excuse me, before opening night, I had called my grandfather and said, Papa, can you put money in my account to get my headshots printed out? Because back in the day, you had to actually go to a professional to get
Hmm.
your headshots printed out. And then the next day, Papa passed away from a heart attack. So in my mind, I thought that I was the cause of his heart attack. I mean, I was only 18, 19 years old. That's young. And so after we did the show, I actually quit the arts because I thought it was my fault, and I was like, how can I
Hmm.
continue this dream when I was the cause of my grandfather passing away? It wasn't until I was engaged when I was 30 that I felt like something was still missing, and I realized that it was the arts that I missed. So,
Hmm.
working a corporate job, I was going back and forth to New York, for rehearsals. Wrote my own one woman show, performed it at the Producers Club. It got accepted to the United Solo International One Man, One Woman show. Got to perform that at Theater Row, which was a huge deal. Um, but around that time, an old friend of mine was like, "Hey, Kyra, you're so organized. Like, can you produce my short film?" I'm like, "What does a producer do?" Right? And at this point, I'm like 33 years old. And so I took a $70 course at Philly Cam because I didn't go to film school.
Shout
And it
out
was
Philly
like,
Cam.
shout out to Philly Cam. And it was like how to be a producer. And then I took another course, a field workshop, just so I could get familiarized with cameras again, because things had changed since the VHS days, right? Um,
Hmm.
and so I really caught the bug. And so I was producing really, I mean, those short films were not great, right? But I was like
Hmm.
starting to learn. I started reaching out to people. Hey, can I be on your set? Can I shadow? Can I do this? And I started getting small little opportunities just to shadow. And then when I was 34, husband came home. I was crying. He was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I can't do this anymore. Can I quit my job to follow my dreams? I want to be a producer." And he was like, "Okay." Give me 90 days. Little did Jay know that I was going to walk into my job the next day. And I gave them my 90 days notice because I'm like, you know what? I have this opportunity. I'm just going to try.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know, and I had a lot of people doubt me. Oh, Kyra's going to quit her job. People would say to my husband, "Oh, you're letting her quit her job. This is a hobby. When is she going to settle down? When is she going to do this?" And, I credit my husband for also putting the blinders on and not listening to that outside noise.
Amen.
And so it's something when you start walking in your purpose, right? And so in that span of that 90 days, I'm still at this corporate job. I get reached out to from my old classmate at Kappa, who was a creative director at a boutique production company, and they were looking for a lead actress. And so I went in there, I auditioned, got the role on the spot. And when I was supposed to be resting, because these were like overnight shoots, I would then go
Hmm.
over to the crew and see what they were into. The CEO saw that and said, "Hey, like, what are you into?" And I said, "Well, I just quit my job because I want to be a producer." And he said, "Do you want to work here one day a week?" And the rest was
Wow.
history. Yeah.
Yeah.
At 34, and I will be 42 in April.
And see, your testimony and telling your story is how the Lord will order your steps when you're walking in your path.
Yes.
And it almost seemed like it's seamless. I mean, of course, you put the work behind it, but when you're doing what you're supposed to do, everything will open up for you. That's beautiful.
It just opened up. I mean, it was just wow. Within the first year of me leaving my job, I ended up winning two silver tellies for my work. And I tell people, like, use what you have in front of you, right? Like, I didn't
Hmm.
go to film school, and when I started out at this boutique production company, they were like, "Kyra, we need you to cast for these docu-series." Instead of me saying, "I don't know how to do that," I figured it out. Social media. I realized that, watching and know who they're no longer around, but there weren't a lot of stories about black and brown people. So
Right.
I saw that voice. So I started looking for these stories. They loved the stories I was finding. Next thing you know, the boutique comes like, "Kyra, well, since you're casting these, you might as well produce these." Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. And I did. And then last thing was, "Well, Kyra, you might as well direct these." And that essentially became my film school. I did close to 40 docu episodes. And how I got better was that every time I was on a shoot, I would take my footage, I would sit there with the editor, and I would say, "How did I screw up this episode? How can I make it better?" And they would say, "Kyra, next time get this, next time get that."
Hmm.
And I watch every episode, my work got better and better and better and better. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And so by the time you get to Bad Things Happen in Philly,
Yes.
you're pretty solid on your skills and what you're doing.
I have imposter syndrome. So I
Talk about that a little bit. Talk
can
about that.
because I work with people that have been in this industry 10 plus years at that time, right? And so here I'm coming, no film school. I'm just figuring this out in my late 30s, right? Um, and I'm just like, do I even belong in this room? Right. And so
Yeah.
I doubted myself so many times, which is why it took so long for me to make Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia. Um, I can talk freely about this because now that Watching and Know is no longer around, But we were doing a series called Good People. And I had
Mm-hmm.
pitched my cousin's nonprofit organization, Shoe Basketball's Not People. They love the story, but they made us take out that the reason why he started it was because he lost 13 friends to gun violence. And so that made me so angry. And I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to make this story the way that it needs to be told. But because of imposter syndrome, I kept pushing it off. And I had access to any equipment that I wanted in that studio, but I kept
Mm-hmm.
pushing off. And it wasn't until COVID happened and the world shut down. And I'm like, man, why didn't I at least try? Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so the world started slowly opening up. And so I reached out to my friends that worked at that same production company and say, hey guys, do you want to do this short film with me? And then from there, we filmed a couple of days. And if you look at the early photos, we all have on our masks and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then after a few days, I said, man, we have something really special here. I think I'm going to make my first feature. Give me some time. I'm going to create a sizzle so I can get funded so I can pay my friends. And that's how it started.
Very, very good. And you made the accomplishment of winning an Emmy. Talk to me about that.
Whew. Oh man, hasn't even hasn't even been a year yet since I won that Emmy, and it still doesn't feel real. Probably because of that imposter syndrome. I That moment was so special for me because it was a story. It was a black story. That
Mm-hmm.
won that Emmy, and the reason why it was so special because we're living in a time where they're trying to silence our voices and not tell our stories. So to win an Emmy, telling the important stories of our culture and our history
Mm-hmm.
was so, oh my God, it was such a proud moment for me. And just so people can know the project I'm talking about, it was called Restless Ground, The Untold Story of Mount Olive. And what I didn't realize until I started doing all my research, cemeteries in Delaware were segregated all the way up until 1984. I
Wow.
was born in 1984. So that's only 42 years ago. And as they
Right.
developed Delaware, they would dig up the black and brown cemetery and just throw them in this cemetery called Mount Olive. Um, and now I'm proud to say that they are now using this documentary to spread awareness to Mount Olive and to continue getting funding and to restore Mount Olive back to its former glory. And oh my God, the cemetery is looking so beautiful now. But when I went there, tombstones were in opposite directions. The ground was sunken in. You
Wow.
could tell they had no regard for our bodies. I mean, and these are people that were generals, people that were lieutenants, prominent people, everyday people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tombstones where you can see what year the husband was buried, but you don't know what year the wife was buried. So that means they were never buried together, right?
Wow.
So that was a huge, huge moment, and I was really proud of myself when I won that Emmy, and I cried a lot because
Of
I didn't
course you
think I was
did.
going to win.
So,
I cried a
were
lot.
you able to, and I always ask people this when they have a monumental moment like that, were you able to enjoy the moment or did it seem like it was like a blur?
I was able to enjoy the moment because of my husband. Um,
Good.
We didn't know if I was going to win or not, but he still wanted to celebrate me being nominated.
Hmm.
So he got together my closest friends and like had a whole dinner set up for me. And so when I came in with the Emmy to the restaurant, they were all there and we were able to celebrate and cry and laugh. And then everyone came back to my house and we partied till like 5 a.m. Like, so I was really able to enjoy the moment. And it's because of my husband. I'm very I'm very blessed that I have such a supportive partner um, in this industry, especially as a woman in this industry.
Good, good. Is your husband an artist at all?
He's a chef.
Oh, he's an artist.
Yes. Well, now
He's an
he's
artist.
not. Now he's not. Now he's an electrician. He changed trades because during the time of bad things happened in Philadelphia, while we were going through the film festival circuit, there were a
Mhm.
lot of times that he was not able to be there, and that really bothered him that he was missing my important moments. So, a year and a half ago, he left the restaurant world and went back to school, and now he's an electrician. But what he still does and what he used to do, he always, anytime I'm working on a passion project, he always cooked for me and my crew for free.
So he's your
Always.
craft services.
Good morning. You see his name in the credits. And so it's so funny whenever I'm doing a passion project, whether
Uh-huh.
I just have an idea or I have a tiny budget, my crew, they're like, Jay cooking? Oh, we there. Because they know they're gonna eat good.
That sounds like a good. That sounds like a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
deal.
Yeah, I believe in taking care of my crew. I don't want to just give them pizza or anything like that. So even on
Yeah,
my other projects, like I always invest in crafty.
yeah, yeah. You have to keep your crew happy. Crew is
Keep your
very
crew
important.
happy and fed.
And so recently, you just did a Visit Philly commercial that starred the Philadelphia legend. Actually, she's not just a Philadelphia legend; she's a
Icon.
legend. Period. Patti LaBelle. Talk to me about that. How surreal was that?
Oh my God. I mean, what? It's Patty LaBelle. It's Auntie Patty. Oh my goodness. I'll never forget. I said to my producer, Travis, I said, I would like to meet her first before she goes upstairs and meet all the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she was ready for me, I go downstairs. I'm like, hi, Miss LaBelle. My name's Kyra. I'm your director. And I'm saying it just like that. And I'm like, I just want to let you know, as a Philly girl and as a Black woman in this space, it is such an honor to be able to be your director today. Like, thank you so much for this privilege. And then I go, now, in my household, you have always been Auntie Patty to me. But
Mm-hmm.
what should I refer you to as? And she says, well, call me Auntie Patty then. I was like, huh. What? And so she only called me Cairo one time. The rest of the day, she called me niece the
Wow.
entire day. And when we wrapped, she said to me, she said, you know, I don't just call anybody my niece.
Wow.
Um, and uh, it's this one moment that happened that I didn't know the cameras were rolling. And my editor sent it to me later. And she says to me, you are a great director. You got it going on. I appreciate you. You're doing your job. And I'm like, Auntie Patty, I got to get through the rest of the day. I'm about to start crying. And the fact that I have that now, I mean, it's
Mm.
saved on my hard drive, my computer, my phone.
Yeah.
Anytime I have imposter syndrome, I will always look at that because a legend, an icon said that to little old me. I will cherish that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I can thoroughly understand that.
LaBelle, I still, as you can see, I'm still fangirling. It's still like, because again, that was she's a legend. And when you come, I know people always like to ask about the process. We only
Mm-hmm.
had 8 hours with Auntie Patty. That included 4 company moves, a photo shoot, and a voiceover session. So imagine that. And so I did so many rehearsals without her
Mm-hmm.
so that by the
Mm-hmm.
time she came in, it we literally only had 2 or 3 shots per per angle, and that was it. And the young girl, Riley, that was my little
So cute.
cousin. That was my little cousin.
So, and actually, when I saw her, I was like, she looks like a little Kyra.
And she is a little Kyra, same personality. She is Gary, my cousin Gary, that was in Bad Things Happen Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
his daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when we were thinking about adding a little girl to it, I said, I have the perfect person, Riley. She's such a ham. And I mean, she exceeded my expectations. I told my cousin, I was like, get her headshots immediately. That was her
Yeah.
first time on camera. First
Wow.
time.
Wow.
Yes.
And honestly, in my head, I was like, oh, that's a little girl that they got from Freedom Theater, probably.
Well, close enough. Yep, my little cousin.
So who came first? Did you get the job first, or did Miss LaBelle come with the project first? How did that work? How did that come to you?
So I was reached out to by the perception, and I had to go against, I believe, two other directors, basically a bid,
Mm-hmm.
where I had to present my treatment and how I envisioned this commercial spot to be filmed. And I found out that Auntie Patty might potentially be a part of this. And then in January, that's when I found out that she definitely would be a part of this. And I worked on this. I worked on a treatment right before Christmas, and I found out that I got the gig literally right after New Year's. So New Year's was that week, that Monday. I found out that I had the gig, and it was off to the races. But yeah,
Very nice.
yeah, it was a competitive bid, and I was very proud that I won that bid.
And the timing of everything is so perfect because you have the image, you have the commercial, and now you have Spirit on Peacock.
I know. What?
And by the way, that commercial runs every morning because I'm in the medical field too. So we're in the break room in the morning before we get started with our day. And every time that commercial pops on, I'm like, my friend made that commercial. My friend made
Stop.
that.
I have still have not seen it live.
Really?
Right. I really need to just like set my DVR for the morning time and just see like if it
They always play it on the morning news between 6 and 7 on Channel 6.
good
Always.
to know. I'm a
Hmm.
record. I'm a record
Hmm.
tomorrow morning. But yeah, Spirit. Wow. Spirit, another one. We're on Peacock now.
Hmm.
But a lot of people don't. We were first on Xfinity for a whole
Okay.
year. Um, and then now we'll be on Peacock for 2 years. And another great Philadelphia story. If you couldn't tell already, I love doing stories about Philly. Um, and I was very blessed to receive the opportunity to be the story producer, which
Hmm.
means that I'm in charge of crafting the story with my showrunner. And I tell you how imposter syndrome almost made me not even get that job. I almost lost out on that job because of my imposter syndrome. I'll never forget when Matt, who is the showrunner and director of the series, reached out to me because he heard Jalen and Taj, two cinematographers that I work with, talking
Hmm.
about me. And he's like, well, who is this Kyra Knox? And so he looked me up and saw Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia, reached out to me about having a call. So I'm jumping on a call with him. He's like, yeah, like this is a story producing role and crafting the story and blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I've never been a story producer before. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I was like, I've been a producer and a director. I was like, but man, I've never been a story producer. And he was like, oh, well, who crafted a story for Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia? I said, me. He's like, well, Kyra, that's a story producer. I said, oh.
No, no.
I didn't know that. I was like, well, I'm happy you asked. And I was able,
That is funny.
almost talked myself out of a job. But yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that project, and I learned so much because I have produced and directed and story produced documentaries, but I never did a docu-series.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned the craft of setting up the ending so that way it goes to a cliffhanger so that people want to see the next episode. I
Mm-hmm.
learned about the beats and how to do this and that. And like we had a huge whiteboard, just as if you're like in narrative, right? Where you're
Yeah,
writing out the
yeah.
story beats. Same thing in docu-series. And I learned so much. And it's a project that I'm so proud of. It's a Philadelphia story, it's an underdog story. And those kids are just
Oh my God. It
remarkable.
is so powerful. Like you had me welling up in tears a couple times. Especially when you get into the children's lives and their
Yeah,
backstories. Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Very moving and very touching.
I would say people ask me what's one of my favorite stories that I did for Spirit. And it was actually the story of Roland and his father. Um,
Mm,
I'll never forget, it was my first day working on Spirit. And Matt says, "Hey, Kyra, I'm gonna give you this scene. It's about Roland. He's a goofy kid. I don't think there's a lot there." And I was like, "Well, let me see. Let me look at the footage." And so I look at the footage, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Matt, there's so much there." I mean, like, yes, Roland is a goofy kid, but that's because he talks about the three things that a kid goes through to get bullied: being fat, having a gap in the teeth, or being dark skinned. Right? I was
mm,
like, you have this beautiful story of this father and this son where there's this stigma of black fathers not being in their children's lives, and
yep.
his father would travel back and forth to Maryland making sure that he saw his son, and then eventually Roland started living with his father. And
Hmm.
then you have this story of a black father also being happy that he's a cheerleader too. Yes, Roland is in football, but he's a cheerleader too. And his father's like, we're going to get a scholarship some way or
Some way.
another.
Yep.
And he's like, if cheerleading is going to help you travel the country and doing things, why not? And I was like,
Right.
it's such a beautiful story. And so Matt was like, well, it's yours. Take it. And that was my first scene that I wrote for
Wow.
Spirit.
Wow.
And it's
And it's
one of
so
my
powerful
favorites.
and beautiful. Yeah.
It's a beautiful story. Every black story, and this isn't what Matt, my showrunner, was saying, so I just want to make that clear.
Mm.
But I tell people all the time, every black story does not need to be traumatic, right?
Right.
There are
Right.
so many beautiful black stories out there that will still create emotions, and
Hmm.
that's one of the stories that I'm really, really, really proud of that I created.
Yeah. I also like the story. I mean, I like all of it, but another one that moved me was the Hispanic girl and her family and her father, and how the family, the city rallied together to
Yes.
wrap and embrace her father to make sure that he came home. Beautiful.
Yes, yes. And think about it, right? All of these kids are going through these things while also trying to maintain good grades in school
Hmm.
and thinking about college and all of that.
Hmm.
And they, I mean, they inspired me. Those kids inspired me.
Yeah. And to keep in mind, this is just a small set. This is a team. This is a cheerleading team. This is not all the children in the city. So if you just have a handful of children who are making miracle waves in this little set, imagine what else is going on in the city.
That part. Exactly
Yeah.
that part. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you can't talk about what you're doing now. Would it be something that we would be surprised?
Hmm. No, not this
No.
project. It's not something that
Okay.
you would be surprised about. But I do have things that are cooking. I do have
Hmm.
some documentaries that are in play. And I do have a narrative project that could be potentially coming to Philly that I'm
Okay.
excited about. That is a Philadelphia story. So I have things up my sleeve. A lot of times I keep things close to the chest
Mm-hmm.
until it's time for that perfect announcement. But there are some announcements that are coming up soon.
Good. Very good. So I'll say this to you. I'm no stranger to a movie set. I've done my own work. I've produced. If you ever need a lending hand, you can always reach out. Call me.
I
Holler
got
at
your
me.
email now, so
Yeah. Yeah.
also email is best for me. I am horrible in text messages and direct messages. If you want to get in contact with me, emails because I check that more than I check the other spaces.
Gotcha. So before I end, I normally get my guests to do a manifestation. And this portal has been very powerful in that regard. So I'm going to leave it to you to do a manifestation.
I manifest I'm going to win an Oscar one day.
That part. That part.
That's what I manifest.
Kyra
It's coming.
Knox.
It's
Oh,
coming.
no, it's coming. It's coming. I actually have written down here. Tell Kyra that you knew her before she won the Oscar. I have that written down here.
I mean, but think about it. When I first met you, I mean, think
Mm-hmm.
about like my film was being shown on a projector on a white wall, right? I hadn't made Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia yet. I
Nope.
hadn't do any. I remember I was really kind of just still starting out. So, I mean, let's wait. How many years ago was that? That was a couple of 3, 4 years. So let's see where I'm at.
21. 21.
21.
So
Yeah.
now
So
we're at 26. And the leaps and bounds from 1 to 6. Come
yeah.
on.
Let's
Come
see.
on. Tell people where they can find you and keep up with you.
You can find me on Instagram and Threads at Kyra Knox underscore. You can see my work on www.kyranox.com. And I am also on LinkedIn. I am also on Facebook. I am even on Twitter still because I still call it Twitter. Um, but yeah,
Me too.
that's where you can find me at. Everywhere.
Absolutely. Madam Director Kyra Knox, I thank you for your time and your energy because it's the most precious resource that we have. And I'll be talking to you again, maybe after the next project, if you do have time to talk to me.
I will always make time for you.
All right. Thank you, lady.
Thank
Peace.
you.
All right.
Bye bye.